This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are helping you with your car every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you've got car questions, we've got your answers, so we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR, and you can text us at 411-923. And today on the roadmap, we are going to address some emails from bumpertobumperradio.com. We're going to have open phones, and we've got the text at 411-923. And, you know, Matt, with fuel prices down, I think there's people at the pump thinking, you know what, with fuel prices up, I was buying the cheap fuel, but now with fuel prices down, I want to take a little nicer care of my car. I kind of feel like I've been neglecting it. Let me put some premium fuel in there, that 91 octane, because you know what? It's a whole lot cheaper than it used to be.
Well, yeah, it is, and the thing is, if your car requires 91 octane, it's gonna be in the owner's manual first of all, but it's also typically you're gonna find a sticker on your fuel door. So if you haven't been using the premium fuel and your car needs it, you need to get back to it, absolutely. But even though the fuel prices have come down, if you start using premium fuel in a car that does not require it, you're just wasting less money now. So it is absolutely not necessary. And I've been getting this question at the shop a lot too. People saying, you know, should I start using premium? The prices are down. No.
If your car is just regular plain Jane unleaded fuel, that's what you need. 89 octane.
Yeah, keep your money, put in the right gas, and the reason is, I mean, it used to be that, you know, we had super unleaded fuel. We were laughing about that earlier, Dave.
Oh yeah,
and leaded and unleaded and super ultra premium and all these different blends and such. And I think back in the 80s when they started coming out with these detergent fuels, you could only get the detergents and the cleaners in the premium fuel.
So super unleaded.
Yeah, super duper. So people would want to buy those, and it had the cleaners in it. And if that was the case today, maybe I would consider maybe using the premium fuel. But all the fuel levels have the additives. And there's a website that you can look at. It's called Top Tier Fuel, or the website's toptierfuel.org, and it will tell you a little bit more about that stuff. But now, like I said, all the fuels have the additives and cleaners in it. So there's no benefit to going up, and it can actually be worse for the car. You could have a car that runs very efficient and put premium fuel in it. Well, that fuel burns a little bit differently, and the engine is not designed for it, and you could actually make the performance go backwards.
So the bigger the number isn't the number of goodness, you know, in the fuel. It's just the rate at which the fuel burns. So if you got a higher compression, high performance engine, we're going to need fuel to burn a little slower.
Yeah, so we don't get pre-ignition or detonation.
But if you've got a car that is just, you know, your regular everyday grocery getter and nothing fancy, you don't need the big number octane.
Yeah, and now I wasn't thinking about this till you brought that up now, but people will say, well, gosh, if my car doesn't require premium, but it pings if I don't use the premium. If I go back to what it calls for, it rattles and pings. Put premium in it, that goes away. Well, what you've done now is you're just masking the problem, which is carbon buildup in the engine. So we'll expand into that a little bit. Carbon buildup is a problem where, I mean, it's just picture your fireplace. This is a gross example, but what happens when you burn? You're going to have smoke, soot, carbon that's going out the chimney. Well, those chimneys start to plug up; they restrict. And the same thing will happen even in your carbureted car. It's a little bit different, but I remember the old timers when I started working that we were still working. You know, I started in the 80s or so working on cars. So to see a car in the 60s, no big deal. That was considered a newer car then. Well, the old guys would put water. They'd inject water into the cylinders. I'd see them pouring water down the carburetor, sucking into a vacuum. Like,
what the heck are you doing?
What's this all about? Well, that water was cleaning the carbon from the engine. And it wasn't necessarily on the valves like it gets today. It was in the combustion chambers. So we'll move up to fuel injection. And even a carbureted, or I'm going to call normal fuel injected car, not a direct injection. We're going to get to that, and that's where the carbon issues are. But a fuel injected car or a carbureted car, in the airstream, that air that's getting sucked into the engine, going past the valves and into the combustion chamber, that air also has the fuel mixture in it. So that fuel acts as also a detergent. It's washing. It keeps that airstream nice and clean, keeps the back of the valve clean, although you do get some carbon buildup on the back of the valve. And then you would get the carbon buildup more inside the combustion chamber or in the cylinder. And we could clean that with just doing a fuel injector cleaning service. And if you've been to my shop before and I've talked to you about fuel injector cleaning, or any of my guys, and even here on the radio, I always say, yeah, it's kind of not, it's a fuel injector cleaning service, but we're really not trying to clean the injectors. The fuel injector is the delivery method for the cleaner, which then will go in. Of course, the injector will get cleaned a little bit, and that injector is spraying right onto the valve, and that's washing off anything that's on the valve, and then it's going into the cylinder and burning and removing carbon from the cylinders. Well, the big problem we're seeing now at my shop is Hyundais and Kias. This new Ford EcoBoost is a big one. Audis, Volkswagens, Mercedes, they have what's called direct fuel injection. So unlike the carbureted car or your normal fuel injected car, where the fuel stream is in the air, in the airstream also, now they're directly injecting the fuel right into the cylinder. So they're super high pressure, like 1,500 pounds of pressure. Well, the problem is we've taken that fuel out of the airstream that used to keep everything clean.
The back of the valves and the intake.
Yeah. And not only on a normal car or a carbureted car you would have the fuel in the airstream, but you also have the crankcase ventilation, which is the PCV valve, or the manufacturers, for emissions reasons, and the government, they don't want anything escaping out of that engine. Little micro droplets of oil and anything don't want that going out the tailpipe. It's all got to get ingested back into the engine and reburned. So with the absence of that fuel in the airstream, what do we have left? We have micro droplets of oil. We've got some exhaust gas recirculation that's by design. And so we start to see these cars, and even in 15 or 20,000 miles sometimes, we go down in the cylinder with a bore scope, and you can see these valves are just, I just call them boogers. They're just, I mean, it is restricted. So you picture a very small.
At your chimney at your house after you've been burning wood all winter long.
Yeah, you picture like maybe a 15 millimeter opening for the valve, and you start to close up 30% of that. So now you've reduced that down to 10 millimeters. So these cars come in with carbon, with misfire problems. Sometimes the check engine light is on, and sometimes the complaint is it doesn't run right. It lacks power.
It'd be like breathing through a coffee straw.
Yeah,
way to look at it.
Your car has asthma. It can't breathe. So some ways to prevent this. It goes back to the importance of changing the oil. Again, I said there's oil droplets and crankcase ventilation going through the airstream. Well, if you've got dirty oil and you're neglecting your oil change, and by the way, when I say neglect, the manufacturers will say 10,000, 12,000 miles on an oil change. That's neglect to me, because that people that are following that advice, we're seeing this problem. 5,000 mile oil change no matter what.
Well, why are the manufacturers doing that? Why don't they know about these carbon problems? Because I don't hear a lot of talk about it, and I don't, this is something that you're seeing, but why is the manufacturer not making a big deal about this?
Well, I've heard of possibly some class action lawsuits, but manufacturers know about it now. But when they do their 500,000 mile torture test, or the different things that they do to prove the longevity of this engine, that's not 500,000 miles of driving around town. Although they do that, GM and all the manufacturers, you'll see these cars drive around Phoenix certain times of the year with bras and different panels covered up and funky paint schemes on them, with usually a manufacturer tag. Well, they're doing their testing here, but these problems aren't showing up. It takes around town driving and your short trips and your cold starts and multiple starts per day. And you get this buildup. So what we do is you can do a fuel injector cleaning service, but again, that's really not going to do anything on a gasoline direct injection engine, because the fuel is going right into the cylinder.
It's going past all the ports and passages that it's not cleaning.
Yeah, there's nothing there. So you still have that airstream full of soot and oils and stuff, and that just bakes onto the valve, and it stays there, and you've got to clean it. So we've come up with some help from a BG chemical company, a way to clean those, and a method to clean that off. And I tell you, we're having a lot of success. A lot of customers are very happy with the performance, but you can prevent it. If you want to talk to us about us, give us a call, 602-277-KTAR, or 602-277-5827. We'll be right back.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE MasterTechs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
It's really coming down now, and that little voice is saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. You meant to call Kaiko Roofing last storm, but you didn't, did you? Now it's raining cats and dogs, and Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is watching a puddle form on the ceiling. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, get rid of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Call Kaiko Roofing at 602-944-4600 for a free checkup today. At Kaiko, we install peace of mind with the finest materials and the most skilled workers, all backed by the owner's pride guarantee. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. Since 1994, Kaiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of Valley roofs. Over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend. For more information and financing options, go to KaikoRoofing.com. Kaiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are here to help you with your car. You can get a hold of us at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. And after the show, you can also find us at bumper2bumperradio.com, where you're going to find information about cars and good auto repair shops that you can go to. We've got Sue, John, and William. And up first this segment, we're going to go with John in Phoenix. Looks like he's got a fuel question. How can we help you today, John?
Yeah, I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and I remember reading in a lot of the car magazines about water injection and how your car would perform better, on rainy days. And I actually constructed one of those things, with the bottle and the water, and one of the things I had read at the time, they were discussing how octane ratings was the ability not to explode or detonate, and that water, since it doesn't burn, had an infinite octane rating, and that's how they were promoting their water injection systems. And I know, and I kind of devised a system, on one of the magazines, and I saw an improvement. Of course, you don't have that stuff with fuel injection today, but I heard you mention on the octane ratings. Is it true that you actually get more energy out of the lower octane because it has the ability to combust better?
Well, I don't know all of the science behind it, but yeah, the higher octane fuel is going to burn slower, so it won't detonate as fast, and that's why you would be using it back then. Now, I don't know about the the water injection I thought was always a way to clean carbon. I never thought of it as a way to increase efficiency, but maybe to increase efficiency by not letting it get dirty.
Well, I know there was some, back in the day. I mean, when it's raining out, you'll notice your car actually runs better. I mean, it's just different situation going on. But there was people that came up with gizmos that they could hook to your car and, fed a little bit of, water vapor into your intake, something like that. I don't know much about it, but it's kind of an older guy thing.
Well, I think an older guy thing. On a nice, cool, moist day, low barometric pressure, engines make more horsepower.
They're just happier.
You can get it in the sweet spot there. So maybe they were claiming that this combustion or the steam was maybe the water's making a steam engine now. I don't know,
But as far as more power at the different octanes, we can, if we can increase the, compression, we can get more power. But because the lower octane, burns up quicker, people think, oh, it's got to be faster, it's going to be better. But I think it just depends on the design of the engine and what you're using it for.
Yeah, that's exactly it. If it burns up too fast, it's not going to. If the fuel burns before you want it to burn, it's going to rob the power and make the performance go backwards.
Well, thanks for the call, John. We're going to go with Sue in Phoenix on a 1977 VW Convertible. Looks like you want to know where to take your car for service. How can we help you, Sue?
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I enjoy you fellas. Even vehicles I don't even own, I find information valuable.
Well, thanks.
I was taking it to Carl's Custom on Indian School, and they've been closed, so I'm wondering who you would recommend for a older vehicle, a classical vehicle for maintenance. And
is that like a Super Beetle, Sue, or is that that's an air-cooled engine, right?
Well, you're asking me those questions, I'm not sure, but it is a Super Beetle.
Yeah. So that's an air-cooled engine.
Oh, okay.
Well, Matt won't say it, but I will. It looks like you live in Phoenix, and every time I go by Matt's shop, he's got some sort of Porsche in his parking lot, some sort of vintage Volkswagen. I mean, that stuff they're certainly capable of handling. And if it's something they're not, give them a call. It's Virginia Auto Service on 7th Street, and they can definitely, whether they can work on your car, can definitely point you in a direction of who would be a good fit for you to get that maintained in the future. Because you're going to need a specialty shop, for something like that. Because you could bring it to my shop, but you know what? We'd be terrible at fixing it.
Yeah, and I actually have a guy who's in the Volkswagen Club, and he has his '64 Beetle that he's doing work on, and we have a handful of those that we take care of. One of the coaches over at St. Mary's, and we're doing a project on an old air-cooled 914 right now. So, yeah, we can take care of that for you, Sue. Give us a call, and we'd be happy to help you out.
And Matt's just one of the shops you can find at bumpertobumperradio.com. You're going to find Virginia Auto Service, plus a list of a bunch of great other shops that are family, locally owned, where you're going to get great auto service. So thanks for the call. We're going to go with William in Glendale. Looks like he's got an Acura Integra. How can we help you today, William?
Hey, good morning, guys. First-time caller, long-time listener. I had an issue. You guys were talking about the air-fuel mixture and whatnot. I haven't changed my oil. I'm coming up on 5,000. I religiously do it every 5,000 miles. The issue I'm having is that it just started this morning. When I start the car, it starts to sputter, and then it'll catch on, but the check engine light came on. I just had a bunch of work done at Pete Kelly's automotive shop over there off of Hatcher and 19th, and I've been going there for years, and they've always done good work. They did milled and spec my head out on the Integra, and I'm wondering, could that play a factor into it? Or I usually use premium gas, but sometimes I'll go to the lower octane level. It's recommended that I use premium at all times in this car. Could it be that the spark plugs could be fouling, or what would you recommend?
Well, on a cooler morning like today, I mean, the milling the head, if you had that done for a performance reason, will raise the compression ratio slightly, and you might need to use the premium fuel. But I think I also heard you say, will that cause the sputtering? Well, not all of a sudden. If it was going to cause that sputtering, it would have been happening from the moment you had that work done. I mean, it could be a low fuel pressure problem.
If that car rolled into your shop, I mean, the first thing you would look for the codes. And what are the codes going to tell us?
Well, it's going to give us an idea of what's going on. Do we have a misfire code? Do we have?
They're gonna point us in the right direction. So anytime that check engine light comes on pretty much any vehicle, there's an error message stored in the computer. It's not going to tell you, hey, this is the answer. It's going to say, hey, we got a problem over here in this direction. And then that's going to point you as the technician where to go. Is it lean? Are we having a lack of fuel problem? Should we be looking at fuel pressure, going down that road? So that check engine light, it's when cars come in and there is no check engine light, nowhere to start. Well, you got to get a little more creative.
Yeah, I mean, in a misfire, it could be all kinds of different things. You could have a coolant temperature sensor issue where that sensor is telling the computer a lie and telling that the car is hotter than it is, and it's not going to deliver enough fuel cold, and therefore maybe you have a misfire. So, it's hard to say. You need to get the codes read, get it back in there to the shop, have them take a look at it. Maybe try, if it's just a thing on the first startup, maybe tomorrow morning just cycle the key, get the fuel rail pressure built back up, see if it acts any differently there. And then pay attention, see if it starts doing it. Since it just started today, see if it does it when it's hot too. And that'll be good information for the shop. We
got open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923 or listen to Matt and Dave, Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Yes, we realize this is a long name to remember, but most of our customers know us simply as ADS. ADS is a family-owned and operated, state-of-the-art, full-service automotive repair facility with an expert staff that has helped us earn the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation for the second straight year in a row. We are honored, humbled, and dedicated to providing the same level of service to you and your family. We will always strive to get it done right the first time so that you'll leave with a smile on your face after every repair or service. ADS is a bumper-to-bumper radio approved shop with a long name but a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our #1 priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard, ADS proudly serves Ahwatukee, Chandler, Tempe, Gilbert, and Southeast Phoenix. Stop by or check us out at automotivediagnosticspecialties.com today.
Few cities are as car-centric as Phoenix, and this is the show that'll help you to better understand that machine you depend on to get around the valley. It's Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and the KTAR app for Android and iPhone.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio on this wet Super Bowl weekend. I think it's going to be clear skies tomorrow, but you know what? There's going to be a lot of busyness and a lot of traffic out there.
Are they going to have the lid open tomorrow?
I would think you got to come to Phoenix for a Super Bowl. You got to open the lid. It's going to be nice weather tomorrow. The Phoenix Open, probably a little wet and sticky today. I don't know if it's going to be, who knows. There's so much going on in this town. I see all kinds of people that I don't normally see you. Where are you from?
Yeah, the money's flowing. If it's to be had, it's in Phoenix now. At least these last couple weeks, anyway.
Well, to get a hold of the show, 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And boy, Matt, I think you hit the nail on the head here with this topic. I've got all kinds of texts about, hey, I got a Volkswagen TDI. How do I handle the direct injection with that? I've got a Chevy Silverado. I've been using the premium fuel, and apparently I looked in my book. It only needs 85 octane. How do I just make the switch? I'm looking at that one. Just make the switch.
Yeah,
I think the car will just adjust it right out.
Yeah, just push the other yellow button, the one at the gas pump with the lower price. That's no big deal. And on that TDI, and this goes for your gasoline direct injected car as well as your carbureted car or anything like that. And I'm sure we've all heard our dad say or grandpa, just you got to blow it out. Get on the freeway and blow it out. There's something to be said about that. I tell customers after we've done this carbon cleaning at the shop, when you're getting on the freeway, pretend that's you're leaving pit lane in the race. Just flog it.
Run like a scolded dog.
Yeah, just let that thing breathe. And on that TDI, they do have some of those problems as well. This gentleman's got the 2014, and I'm not sure the technical changes or what year they were made, if that's a direct injection on that one or if that's going into the intake manifold. But they do have some carbon issues on those as well, because it's got exhaust gas recirculation. So you look at the diesel and they're farting out all that black smoke. Well, some of that is, before it goes out the tailpipe, it's still being re-ingested in the engine. So we see those throttle bodies, the EGR valves get plugged up, and we do a similar thing where we're injecting this really nasty solvent, and it's got to be done really carefully on a diesel so the engine doesn't run away. But we'll clean that out. And I can tell you too, some of the diesel older Mercedes that we work on, the TDIs, we do a lot of this Volkswagen, Audi, Mercedes stuff. And we'll have the car fail emissions, the diesels, and in the fix, we put an additive in the fuel tank and just go run it hard on the freeway, and sometimes they'll pass emissions. He also mentioned he uses synthetic oil and changes it every 5,000 miles.
Good idea.
Well, newsflash, that is a requirement. You've got to use, like in the Volkswagen, the TDI, there's a special oil. I call it special. It's special if you don't know what it is. But there's a specification for that oil, and I think it's a 507.00 or whatever. So just going and getting off-the-shelf synthetic oil for that car may not be good enough either. So keep that in mind.
Well, let's get to the phones. We are going to go with, Matt, when you don't highlight that box, I can't read it. We're going to go with Todd in Prescott Valley. He's got a 1979 Mazda RX-7, and he's looking for a shop that's good with rotary engines.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Well, I'm assuming you want to shop in Prescott, or
no. Well, no. I'm up and down, so I don't think my odds in the Prescott area are very good. It's probably going to be a Phoenix area. Unfortunately, I've been an RX-7 rotary guy for years, so I do some of the work myself, but there's certain things I can't, I'm not really interested in handling. And my guy retired. A lot of these guys that really knew these, especially the carbureted first-generation ones, they're kind of gone. And yep. I went to a dealer, and I've learned enough over the years, a little bit of wisdom and age, that, I sit there and kind of want to talk to some of the mechanics who might be working on my car, and I had all these, 20-something young guys go, whoa, I never worked on one of these.
They scratch their head. They think it should be in a museum. Well, the first one that comes to mind for me, because he needs a little bit of an old codger, to work on that thing. But the guys at Mesa Auto Works, Stan works up there. He's spent decades working in, for Mazda. Yeah. So he's one of those guys that I think won't have a problem working on that thing.
I remember my brother had one of these cars. I have an older brother, two of them. One of them had an RX-7, like 81 maybe. I remember he lives up in Utah, and he drove down to Phoenix when I was a kid, and he had this yellow RX-7. Man, I thought that was the coolest thing. And yeah, they're fun.
They just revving. You know what? I'll tell you the truth. I don't know anything about a rotary motor.
What's funny is the first time I remember working on one a while ago in the shop, and talk about the young guys. So you get in the car and you're like, wah, wah, you're winding that thing out, and the horn's honking. People come in like, why is my horn honking? Well, apparently that's programmed into the engine as part of the rev limiter is for the horn to honk. But, another guy up in Prescott, he's not one of our bumper shops, but I know he's a good guy, and I think it's Prescott Import Car Service, but he's a Bosch service center, and I know him through the Better Business Bureau, through ASA, and through the Bosch Service Center program. So it's Prescott Import Car Service. They're pretty good too.
Hey, Todd, if you're looking for Mesa Auto Works, they're in East Mesa, and you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. It is truly a family-run business. Father Stan, son Stan, brother Jeremy, they got the whole family working there, but they do a great business, and you could feel real comfortable there. And if it's not something they feel comfortable with, they're going to know who's going to be good for that. So we're going to go with Mark in Phoenix. He looks like he's got a 2005 Lexus ES330. How can we help you, Mark?
Hey, thank you for taking my call. It's kind of low-tech. My remote on my key, it'll operate the doors, the windows, and lock and unlock, but I've lost the audio beep, that you get. So I can't find my cars in the parking lot. So I'm wondering if you can give me some direction as to where I could start looking to repair
That's funny. That is the only way I find my car in the parking lot.
If you can't find the car in the parking lot, maybe lay off the sauce a little bit before you go looking for it. But, that's not part of the horn anymore. So I guess
I have never repaired one of those. Have you?
No.
And the Toyota's got the kind of chirp, chirp, chirp noise.
Yeah, exactly. But I have no idea if it's a fuse or if it's the unit itself, or is it a function of the horn? I'm clueless.
Well, it's definitely not the horn. I mean, the horn's a different note. So, that's a good question. I don't think it'd be that hard for a shop to figure out or fix it. It's just going to be, is that loud? It's a speaker, basically. Speaker, horn, whatever you want to call it. Is it getting a signal to talk to you, or is it not? And then you'll go from there. Now, doesn't mean it's easy, I guess. I guess the easiest thing is if it's just the speaker or the whatever it is not working, because if it's not getting the command, it might be a little bit different.
But all that stuff is generally controlled by the body control module. You got a set of keys, and you hit the locks and unlock. Just when you hit the panic button, nothing's going to happen.
And it's fairly simple, probably. I mean, at my shop, we have the Toyota factory scan tool. It's a laptop-based deal, and we go in, we can do all the programming and everything. So I bet we could go in there with the scan tool and command that thing to make noise and see what's happening. So
shouldn't be too tough, Mark, for you to get repaired at a shop. If you're looking for a shop, bumper-to-bumperradio.com. While you're there, be sure to like Matt and myself on Facebook, or run a light on friends. We're going to go with Charles in Mesa on a 1999 Ford F-250 light duty.
Yes, sir. How you guys doing this morning?
Fantastic. What can we do for you?
Excellent. I have a 99 F-250 light duty. It's the one with the F-150 body with the F-250 chassis. And I was having an issue where as soon as I would hit right around 45 miles an hour, the truck would start to stutter almost kind of violently. I did some research, found out that it was apparently a coil issue or spark plug. Well, my check engine light said that it was cylinder number 2. So I replaced the coil and the spark plug at number 2. It seemed to have fixed the problem. However, I still have a very, very slight stutter around 45. Just wondering if the computer will clear itself.
Is that the 5.4 liter?
Yes, sir.
Well, you were lucky that the one showed up and it said a misfire code, so you knew where to go when you saw the coil. But you saw one bad coil, but there's chances are you may have 2 or 3. So it's a pretty common repair. People think they have a transmission problem. They come to a transmission shop and they say, "Yeah, at 40, 45 miles an hour, we get this stuttering, and we think the transmission is hunting." So they think it's a transmission problem when in fact, these coils are breaking down. And what happens at 45 miles an hour is that the engine's really leaning out and you get lean misfires. But it's not uncommon to see multiple. So you can go in and replace those coil packs one at a time, a la carte, or $19.99, I just go in and replace them all if you can afford to do so. Because you don't know necessarily. I mean, with the scanner, we can go in and see, maybe through the engine balance, where are we seeing, if we think we got a light cylinder, but 99, there may not be that information in the computer.
Yeah, there might be some mode 6, but that would be really someone knows what they're doing in the back end of a scan tool. So, yeah, just do them all probably is the best way to go. Those things will just wear out over time, and then like today on a humid day or moist day, we say cars run better when it's cold. Well, sometimes, we see the monsoons. Everything is so dry under the hood, and you get some moisture there in these coils. Electricity is lazy. It likes to go the easiest path to ground, least resistance. So even with the high humidity in the air, it can cause an ignition system problem sometimes.
Well, it is time for the email of the week. You can email us at bumper-to-bumper-radio.com. If you've got something you want to hear us talk about on a future show, send us an email. The other thing you can do there is find a shop. So you can send us emails there. This email is from Vince, and we did a show a little while back on Are You Sure That I Need That Service? And that was his thing. Am I sure I need that service? He's got a 2013 Toyota Corolla S, 19,000 miles on it. He took it in for an oil change. Service advisor came out and said, "Hey, you need an air filter and a cabin filter replaced." He said he opted out of that. Then the service manager said, "Hey, it's this room for a loop." He said, "You need your rear drum brakes adjusted for $55 because they were free spinning, and normally they should not be free spinning as freely as mine are. Can you explain this? I never have heard of the free spinning thing." And that's exactly what it is. And we got a car on a hoist. If it's got drum brakes in the rear, we're going to take and we're going to spin that tire. And the thing, it just spins and spins and spins. Well, those brakes,
like Wheel of Fortune.
Like Wheel of Fortune, right? It just spins and spins. Well, that thing is out of adjustment. Usually we're going to grab the wheel and we just do it at a habit. We're going to spin it. It's going to spin maybe 1.5 turns. There's going to be a little bit of drag. That means the pads are pretty close to the, the shoes are pretty close to the drum. Mm-hmm. So Is it a service I need? Yeah, I think it could be. If you're just spinning and spinning, and it should be able to show you that on the hoist. The reason I would do it is that if they're out of adjustment, and Matt, you said it, he's going to, you go pull up on the parking brake is one way you'll know it. If the parking brake goes up through the roof of the car, they may very well be out of adjustment.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine, a shop owner, call me and say, Matt, what do you guys do for cleaning and adjustment on the rear brakes? Are you guys lubing the backing plates? I said, well, yeah. They better be. And I went and verified with the guys that they are. So it's not, that's a service that very easily could be justified 15, 20,000 miles. And the importance of that is you want to keep the rear brakes adjusted well so they're doing their fair share of the work and also not overloading the front brakes, making them wear prematurely. And on a car with 22,000 miles, we'll probably want to pull the drums off and use cleaner and get all the dirt and dust out and re-lubricate everything. And that's what they need to be doing. If for a $55 charge, they ought to be lubing them.
Complete job.
If you want to, somebody could also just pull the little plugs and reach in and add a couple clicks to the adjuster and firm them up a little bit. That would probably be acceptable too on a low mileage car. And then, like you said, Dave, the indicator that you really need that is, the parking brake goes through the roof. Yeah, they're out of adjustment.
Well, we'll be right back. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
It's really coming down now, and that little voice is saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. You meant to call Kaiko Roofing last storm, but you didn't, did you? Now it's raining cats and dogs, and Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is watching a puddle form on the ceiling. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, get rid of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Call Kaiko Roofing at 602-944-4600 for a free checkup today. At Kaiko, we install peace of mind with the finest materials and the most skilled workers, all backed by the owner's pride guarantee. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. Since 1994, Kaiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of valley roofs. Over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend. For more information and financing options, go to KaikoRoofing.com. Kaiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
Hi. This is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our #1 priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the second straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotivediagnosticspecialties.com.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Woo! Man, I've never been so excited about talking about cars, and that song does it for me. Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are your KTAR car guys, heard here every Saturday from 11 to noon. And Matt, I'm just cruising through these texts, quite a bit of text today. This gentleman says, I've heard you talk previously about it as a waste to do a fuel injection cleaning and how nowhere in your manual does it require that. However, today you guys sound different. And I think it's a great point because we have talked about it. Hey, you're down at the car wash and they say you need a fuel injection service. And you say, hey, it's probably better just to donate your money to charity. I think you've said that once or twice.
Yeah.
Why don't you clarify that for me?
There's a lot of different ways to clean the fuel injectors or the fuel injection system. In one way I just view it as a profit center for Quickie Lube or for the car wash or for wherever. They can train someone very easily to hook up, I call it just a can of Cheese Whiz. They're going to hook up this pressurized can of magic fluid, and they're going to hook it up to your fuel rail in your car where there's a Schrader valve like your tire, and they squirt it in there and start the car up after they've disabled the fuel pump. Well, the car's going to run for 10 or 12 minutes and it's going to stall, and then they unplug it, plug the fuel pump relay back in or whatever, and they call that fuel injector cleaning. That's a waste of money.
Well, my car doesn't even have a Schrader valve on the fuel rail. It's one of those cars. How are they doing that?
Well, then they might just be squirting some fluid into the throttle body and just sucking it in.
Right.
So that's cleaning the airstream, but it's not cleaning the fuel injectors. They still call it a fuel injection service.
Or they may just pour a bottle of schmooey in a gas tank.
Well, that too. And some of that is good. So if you want to have fuel injection, well, there's two parts to that question too. Why isn't it in the owner's manual? Well, that owner's manual is a minimum guideline. And we talked about in the beginning of the show, they don't know about these problems because they don't show up in that 500,000-mile torture test. They also want to create a car that has a low cost of ownership. That's not, God didn't say take your vitamins. I mean, you got to take care of yourself. The doctors have come up with you need vitamins, you need additives and minerals and supplements to be healthy and be the best. So the same thing with your car. Things happen. It's just going to happen. You have carbon buildup.
And not only that, this direct injection conversation that we're having with this technology, I mean, Mercedes-Benz, I think, tried it in the 50s. It never really took off, but this is something with the government pushing for more efficient cars. We're pushing for cars because we're feeling at the gas pump. We want more efficient cars. Direct injection has said, hey, we can put the fuel right in the cylinder right there where it needs to be, and we've got a whole new set of problems that the manufacturers don't have 10 and 20 years worth of data to look at. So it is a new thing, but it is a problem that's showing up in your bay at Virginia Auto Service.
Oh, all the time. And in the U.S., we want to keep the price of fuel down. Go to Europe and buy fuel. It's much more highly refined. We've got crappy gas in the U.S., and that's part of the problem too. I've noticed recently on Hyundais and Kias, you will look in the owner's manual and it will say to add a can of engine decarb or a can of fuel cleaner I think it's 7,500 miles. So yes, that's important. Synthetic oil, and put those in. And if you want the other brand for the fuel injection cleaning, if you're calling your shops, ask them if they use a motor vac. That's the method of cleaning. That's very good. It takes about an hour for that to run. And another product that we use a lot of is BG.
You're cutting into Brad's time in Casa Grande. He's got a Dodge Grand Caravan 2007. Brad, how can we help you on Bumper to Bumper Radio?
Hi, I have this Grand Caravan has been a good service car. It's got about 78,000 miles on it. But recently, every time I refuel it, about the time I exit the gas station, it dies. It restarts easily and doesn't have any problem till I refuel it again.
Well, just quit going to the gas station and it'll quit dying.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried short filling it? I mean, so instead of filling the tank, let it run down to empty, and maybe just go half tank. Have you tried that to see what happens?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, I would try that, and I'm going to assume that there's no check engine light or any other warning indicators or anything else on?
Correct.
Okay. Try short filling it. Just go half tank and see if it happens again. If it doesn't do it, which I suspect it won't, you probably have a vapor canister issue or a vent solenoid problem. So and the other thing you can't do, and I didn't ask them, don't top off. Put the thing in, put it on autofill, full blast. When that thing clicks off, just be done.
The system's overloaded with fuel vapor.
Yeah, just stop. Because otherwise, then what we're doing, we're overfilling the tank. And even in this case, you might have a solenoid valve or something that's bad. And when you start the car, it's taking a big drink of fuel that it otherwise wouldn't get. It's supposed to be getting it through getting air through a vapor line. Instead, it's getting raw liquid fuel and rich condition stalling it out. So try those, and that'll be good information for the shop that's going to look at it as well.
For sure, Brad. And the closest bumper-to-bumper radio shop is Automotive Diagnostic Specialties, and you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. They're on Chandler Boulevard and I-10, and that is a vehicle that they would be happy to take care of for you. So, everyone's got these little funky issues. Sometimes I think they live with them. I do get cars, and, how long has it been like that? The door handle thing. You go up to their door handle, and you try and open the door, and it doesn't work. And they say, how do you get out of your car? Well, we just roll the window down. How long could you live with that?
I don't know. My truck, I've got these intermittent door lock actuators all the time.
Oh, and it's annoying.
Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's annoying. We've got another text in here, and he's talking about the whining noise. I'm just kind of summarizing. Whining noise coming from the belt area and the belt tensioners and problems up there. And, we've got serpentine belts on the car. Some cars have timing belts, which we talked about last week. And used to be that you had a couple belts, or maybe you had one belt, maybe there was one tensioner, but we're seeing these cars now, they have multiple bearings, they have multiple idlers, multiple tensioners, because we have so many accessories that they want to run off one belt, hence the name serpentine. And that thing is twisting and winding, and they've got to get a good wrap around the pulleys. And so what we see is those things have a life expectancy of around 100,000 miles.
I just did a 2008 that was a Jeep Compass. That guy thought he had a transmission issue. Well, the whining was coming from the tensioners. We just did them all, and they were all in bad shape.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty common issue. Well, thanks for joining us. If you're looking for a friendly, competent, honest shop, you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. If you got a great mechanic, don't bother going there unless you want some good information about how to take care of your car. Stick with your good mechanic. But if you need one, bumpertobumperradio.com. You're not going to be disappointed by any of those shops listed there. And while you're there, be sure to like Matt and I on Facebook. Thanks, Bree, for running the dials and screening our phone calls. Remember never to text and drive. And from all the shops at Bumper to Bumper Radio, we hope you enjoy your Super Bowl weekend and stay safe.
No drinking and driving.
We'll see you next week.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper Radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Thank you, Arizona golf fans. Thanks to you, the Waste Management Phoenix Open is about to top $100 million in charitable giving. For all the birdies made by the PGA Tour pros, it's really Arizona's charities that sit atop our leaderboard. So stand up and take a bow as the Thunderbirds and Thunderbirds charities thank you for your incredible support. Celebrate this milestone at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, January 26th through February 1st at TPC Scottsdale. Visit WMPhoenixOpen.com.
World class and in your own backyard. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is just around the corner at 7th Street in Virginia. And for over 19 years, they've been recognized as one of the best auto repair shops in the country. Voted Best Auto Repair by AZ Central, A+ rated by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranty, and complimentary transportation to and from your home or office. Virginia Auto. They're serious about service. See for yourself. VirginiaAutoservice.com. Join us for everything automotive on Bumper to Bumper Radio with Dave Riccio and Matt Allen, the KTAR Car Guys, every Saturday, 11 to noon on KTAR News 92.3 FM. Winter is finally here. Is your car ready? Whether it's snow up north, rain in the valley, or 75 degrees, Dave and Matt got you covered. And remember, 24/7, there's BumperToBumperRadio.com.